Hi, this is Wes,
This is Ka'shenia.
and we would like to welcome you to the
The
Underground Geek
Underground Geek
Shack.
Shack. I almost said video game edition. It's
You
been a
need
little
to
bit of
stop
a
with the video game edition. That ain't gonna happen till you ever come over here.
listen. It's gonna happen one day, trust me. But I mean, there's a little bit of a video game edition going on in your background there. I see you with the Kingdom Key.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of stuff going on in the background. I got Yoko back here. I got Goku and Vegeta. I got Todoroki from My Hero, and a bunch of voice actors back here too. So
You also got Sonic in a Captain America uniform because that's not random.
enough about my background.
Listen, don't worry. I'm gonna fix up my background soon. There might be a well-loved character shown in the background one day.
Yeah,
Well-loved.
Crow.
I catch you.
Oh, see, I was gonna make a reference and just be like Crow, from Ruby, but that was pretty much it. You weren't gonna get it anyway, but all right.
Listen, I'm sorry, I haven't watched Ruby yet. Maybe one day, bud.
Uh-huh.
Maybe one
Uh-huh.
day.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna
Sure,
be a
sure,
minute.
sure.
Don't,
One day. Mm-hmm.
don't,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wesley. I
Mm-hmm.
swear.
What? What? You gonna
You better be
jump through
lucky.
the screen?
You better be lucky. This is the Zoom edition and not real life, bud.
Well, guess what? Hey, do you want to know something?
What, Wes?
When things seem beyond help, if you open your eyes and take a really good look, it's a lot better than turning around and hiding your eyes.
You know what? I feel like that's somewhat fitting for the anime that we're talking about today because, oh boy, there's a deal with eyes.
So, we are talking about Blood Blockade Battlefront. This
So
anime came out back in 2015.
And you know what? I'll have to say it's a bit of an interesting anime
This,
because,
because what? No, go ahead. Because
well, no,
what?
no, no. I'm just trying to really talk about this anime is a little bit hard for me, mainly because of the way that the story is kind of introduced to you. So, what do I mean by that? Well, one, I didn't know that this came from a manga. I'm just
Yeah.
now learning this.
Mm-hmm.
I have the my anime list. This is something I'm going to be trying to do more often. Is have the my anime list thing up here so that I could actually talk a little bit better about some of the stuff. But so this is a first off this is an adaptation from a manga, and I have to say maybe the story is just kind of told in a interesting new way
Did
when
you
it
want to
comes
give the
to
name of that manga for anyone who wanted to go and try and check it out?
well, I mean it's still well it's the Japanese name Kakai Sensei.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it is in Japanese. It's not called Bloodline or
Well,
Blockade,
Blood Blockade Battlefront. I got
or
you.
as some of the people call it BBB. It's just called Kakai Sensei.
Yep.
So I mean, and I don't know. I'll have to like look into the manga a little bit later, but I just don't know if this is how the story is told in the manga. Because in the anime, it kind of flip flops between
We're only going through the anime. We're not
yeah,
going
we're
through
only
the
going through the
manga.
anime and we're only going through season one of the anime.
Yep.
So, you could agree with me on this one. When the anime first starts out, it's a little bit of a monster of the week type thing, which is no problem for me. I fully enjoy anime that is like that. You know,
So
not
this is
Nisekoi.
this is basically a story of a boy named Leo, or a guy named Leo, who's basically a photographer, and
Well, he's a
he he he,
reporter.
he's a photographer. Let's get it straight. He a photographer, and so Leo is basically he has ventured to Hail Salem's Lot, which was New York City.
Yep.
And so basically, he has ventured to Hail Salem's Lot to basically figure out how to help his
Sister.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
And
I,
then
I
he
wanted
just
to put ailing sister, but his sister lost her eyes due,
well, I mean,
due
she
to,
also has disabled lady.
yeah, yeah. But, she lost her eyesight due to a god, and the god sat there and said, which one of you wants to see? And Michaela, being Leo's sister, she said, and I quote, if you need to take my eyes from me. So the god said, okay, pluck, and then looked at Leo and said, all right, kid, here you go, take my eyes. And
Oh
yeah.
my
So
god.
now Leo now has the eyes of the gods. So
Yep.
yeah, which everybody
Also,
wants.
Homeboy, let me just, I know I'm kind of fast forwarding this. Let me just say, his eye powers are pretty cool, but he broke them at the end of the season. Excuse me? How do you
Well,
just break
no,
eyes?
he didn't break them. He only broke them in one eye. It
Yeah,
cracked in one eye, so it's not like he broke them. Like you said, them like being plural. He only broke
sorry.
one.
He broke one. Yes. And like, I'm just kind of like, and it breaks like a screen. I'm just like, Leo, how did you break it? It just said crack, and then he freaks out. I'm like, Leo, I'm freaking out with you. How did you break them, my dude?
So the interesting thing is that with because I watched this in sub. Well, correction, I watched this in the English dub,
Yes.
which was done by Funimation. The interesting thing for me, and that I didn't realize until Alan, our other editor, pointed it out, was the fact that Leonardo Watch is also voiced. Well, the guy who voices as Leonardo Watch also voices as Oscar from Ruby, which for those of you who have watched Ruby, is Oscar Pine from, I think, what it was like volume 6 onward, somewhere around there. Alan will put something in here to help you guys figure it out. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. Also, I didn't also know that Elizabeth Maxwell was also in the show as well.
I'm telling you, I don't know why that like bubble pops up next to you. I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw it too. I was like, wait a minute. But yeah,
But
this is a good show. I'm not gonna. It's
well, wait.
but okay.
I want
It's
to.
great. It's funny. The dub, I should say, is hilarious because there
Wait,
are
wait.
times
Wes,
where
Wes,
there are times within this dub where the characters will just in the background are like screaming at each other, like
Wesley.
they go to the
I feel like you're ignoring me, Wesley. Hold on a second.
Why? Okay, fine. What
Give me
what
a sec before we go into like the actual like things that are happening within the anime. I had some interesting things to say about the voice actors as well.
okay.
So now you're okay with it when you were trying to run away with the show.
Yes.
My
Go ahead.
goodness. But no, so I kind of did something that I usually don't do when it comes to anime is when I start off an anime, I don't switch to um like I started it in sub and then I finished it in dub for reasons outside of this realm. But
You
when I
did the
started
same
it,
thing with not Demon Slayer, with My Hero.
yeah, I technically did the same thing with My Hero Academia. Because
So yeah, this is the second time you've done it. All right, cool.
second time I've done it. But so actually, when I started watching this, I actually watched some of it with a friend of mine, and he usually watches things in Japanese sub, and he was telling me that actually a lot of the voice actors in the Japanese dub of this are voice actors from One Piece. So those who like One Piece will recognize some of the voices. Like for example, Nedge, the mushroom guy that's in
Hmm.
this anime, is the voice of Chomper. Voice of Zap is Zoro. Uh, Lucky Abrams is Blackbeard. Like if you go through the anime list, a lot of you can see like a lot of the voice actors just kind of like switched over to this because apparently this happened during the hiatus of One Piece. So the voice actors were just kind of like, all right, let's do this other project. And I'm like, okay. So finding out that is kind of interesting. I don't know too much about the English dub, like Wesley was going on about, but obviously there are some well-known voices in there specifically for the main character. And I have to
I was also
say,
gonna say Steve Bloom did a voice in it was like in like the earlier episodes, but like you like I heard him, I was like, is that Steve Bloom? Hello? And then you never heard from him again. And I was like, oh, okay, okay.
he's like tears, but okay. I would have to kind of like look through the English voices because I'm actually kind of interested to see what voices were in there. Because I will have to admit, maybe it's just the My Hero Academia brain rot that's like happening right now in my head.
Hmm.
But the voice of Leonardo almost a little bit kind of sounded like Deku, just a tiny bit. But then again, I have to say, I have My Hero Academia brain rot going on right now because I really want to watch the newest season, but I hadn't had time.
You
But
still can.
this isn't a My Hero Academia episode. This
Oh
is all
no, no,
about
that much is true. We're gonna get off of this tangent, but you could still watch it. Just go ahead and just look at it.
no, I
There's
know. I just
yeah,
don't have time. But
you have
continuing
time.
on.
You have time. All right. Other than that, let me go back onto my rant about what I was talking about before. These background
About
characters are hilarious.
and
There's
apparently all of them are references.
there was one moment that, well, there's a couple moments that I like actually. I'm just jumping straight into to this, but like there's the one where when they're talking when they have Zed, and so they're apparently Zap is trying to haze him and be like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go out to eat, and he's taking him to all these other places that just don't look appetizing. And they go to this one restaurant and it says clam something, and they're like, and Leo's like, oh, you mean clam chowder? And so they walk in, and Leo's like, okay, this place doesn't look half bad. Then you see a face pop up out of the chowder and then just eat a dude, and all you hear is a lady go, not again.
No.
And I'm
And
like,
she says, "You have to be careful with your meal." And he's like, "Wait, what do you need to be careful when you put it in clam chowder?" She said, "Clam chowder? Could you read? It says clam."
that's the funny part, because in the dub, it's like, next time, do be careful, yeah, do be careful. You need to be careful about what you put in this clam chowder. The clam chowder? And then she's like, we serve clam. Wah! And I'm like, what in the world?
When I heard it, I was just like, "What in the heck? What in the heckins?" Another like background thing that are like actually some actual references that I've noticed. I want to say it was when Nedge and Leo was
Hmm.
in the park and they were sharing burgers and stuff like that. They were sitting on the bench, and when they were talking, you see background characters walking. If you don't remember the little robot guy kind of just going through, it's actually a reference to Rob from Smash Bros.
I remember the first time I was like, is that Rob?
And I looked at it, I was just like, hold on a second, Rob? And my friend was like, yep, that's Rob. I was like, what the? And then, there are some actual like character references, aka the Macbeth family, the
Yeah.
Macbeth twins.
We
They're
get white and black, which, let me just say, is hilarious. The fact
yeah,
of when you
their
meet white,
introduction.
it's in the middle of a cemetery, and Leo takes a picture, and because she goes, oh yeah, I'm a ghost, and then she goes, you can just call me white, and I said, excuse me.
No,
Like
no,
th-
no,
like
no.
the first like this is the first time I watched it. I said, excuse me, what? That your name? Because you're wearing white too. And I'm like, is that your name? And then I'm like, well, okay. And then I'm like, what? Is your brother gonna be named Black? And I was like, yeah, that would be interesting. Little did I know, Black literally shows up and he goes, yeah, you can call me Black. I said, come on, this is not real.
But no, so quick thing for that one. When I was watching it in the Japanese dub, she literally I forgot how she was like, "Oh, who am I?" I think is what she said. She said, "Oh, I'm white." Like literally, that's just what it said. And I don't know why. Me and my friend, as soon as we saw the sentence "I'm white," we just looked at each other and died laughing. So I'm just kind of like, "Honey, we can easily tell that you have the blonde hair, green eyes." I wouldn't have guessed you were anything else. And so when we go to meet the brother, I'm just kind of like, please don't tell me you're black. Please don't tell me you're black. And he's like, oh, you can just call me black. I'm like, that never. I knew it. I was like, so what are you guys, chessboards?
And
And then finding out
it's
that that's the nicknames, and then finding their actual names, and then okay, so like I said, I kind of have some brain rot when it comes to more recent anime. When it comes to this anime, because
Mhm.
when they were saying like we need to know their actual names when it comes to the elder vampires, the elder 13 and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and they were like we need to know the actual names in order to take them down, and so when it came to knowing William Macbeth's real name, I'm just like, is that the name we need? And I was like, no, he has split personality, because we soon find out that in order for the blue entity to not mess, he's like, uh, What exactly did he say?
So when it came to
You can
Will,
take anything you want from me,
Will
but
said if
please.
you need hands, you can take what you. He said if you need hands, if you need eyes, take what you need from me. Just leave my sister alone. And
Yeah,
so
that's
then
a
the entity went into William, in which the entity is the King of Despair.
yeah.
So, or in this case, blank.
Yeah, because we do see that the King of Despair does tell his name to Mary in that one scene, but of course they pulled the whole everything is silent, and so we just see him mouth the words, and you see Mary's eyes go big, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And I'm just like, sir, sir,
Then
okay.
we get introduced to Libra, the organization that Leo joins,
Yeah, and the reason why
along
Leo
with
joined it,
Klaus
and the
von
reason why
Reinhans.
Leo And the reason why Leo joined it at first was only because of the fact that he was actually looking for them because he knew they knew a lot about the Alta world and stuff like that. And it was like a case of mixed identity because he looked similar to the guy that was supposed to join at first, but they
No,
ended
it
up.
was the fact of like it wasn't even the fact of that he looked similar because they basically got him wrong. Because when
No, if you look at the
because
picture, they do look similar.
when Leo walked, it's the picture of Leo just turned upside down.
No, they said
Yeah,
no,
it's
no,
the
no.
picture of Leo because Klaus is holding the picture, and it's a picture of Leo, and literally he holds the picture and he turns it upside down, and it's literally still Leo. And Chain tells Zeb, "How can you get him mixed up? They're not even the same person."
No, I could definitely tell you. I could swear they said, yeah, the guy that we're looking for looks like this, and his name is whatever. And I'm telling you for sure, I
And
want to look it up. I feel like,
Chain literally says, "That can't be right. He just died."
yeah,
So yeah. But other than that, we get Klaus, we get introduced to Chain, we get introduced to Zeb, who we've been talking about a lot, and Chain has an interesting power, and I'm not going to really go into it because that more happens towards season 2 of things. But
I'll ask for this later.
her ability is interesting.
You talking about
Zap,
chains?
yeah,
So
but
that's the funny thing is that I've been told, and I think somebody explains it in the thing is like she's a werewolf,
mhm.
and but the only werewolf thing that we see from her is she doesn't have any transformations, which I'm just kind of like, okay, interesting. She just has the abilities. She has a strong sense of smell. She has super speed, and apparently she just phase into existence on top of Zap's head. So okay.
Well, it's not even
um,
on. It's not only on Zap's head because there's a moment where Zap is going to reach for something, and then Chain just steps on his hand, and he's like, "What was that for?" And it's funny because Chain constantly calls Zap a monkey, and he's like, "Do you really have to call me a monkey every chance you get?" And she's like, "Shut up, monkey." And I was like, "Dang."
oh, it's just kind of like, okay, listen here, Frieza. I need you to calm it down.
But it's funny because, like, we get introduced to Sonic, which is the monkey who literally steals Leo's camera, and because he's sitting at the diner and we're talking with Vivian, the server, and like, uh, he sees Sonic sit there, take the camera and run, and then he's like, "Someone stop that monkey!" And then she's like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Oh, you didn't see it? It was a supersonic monkey. It's like, nobody can see it with human eyes." And she goes, "Wait, but he saw it. You didn't hear him yell monkey?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Leo's different. Leo's different."
Oh, the jig is up. Homeboy's different, and I like how much he tried to hide it as much as possible. And we see it with how he's just like, the monkey's not the gate. And then when it came to confronting the monkey, I just remember him saying, please don't be the gate, please don't be the gate, please don't be the gate." And then he sees that it's a tiny tick that is on him. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the gate. I'm just
Because
like,
in
homeboy,
the
that's amazing.
because in the dub he goes, please don't open, please don't open, please don't open, please don't open, talking about the
Yeah.
gate, and
Yeah, he
you
said
know,
please don't open as well in the Japanese dub. But I could tell he was really hoping it wasn't the monkey because he was trying to convince everybody it's not the monkey. The monkey is not the gate.
because he
And I
was
like
like,
how the vampire guy was so pissed because he was just kind of like, no, they're supposed to kill the monkey. Why does it have to be so?
he was just like, he's like, no, the joke was to kill the monkey, not
Oh.
to not kill him. Like
I'm just like, why is that the joke?
I was like, all right, cool. And so we get introduced to him. We get introduced to a lot of people actually.
Well,
Like
because I have to say, at first, it is kind of a monster of the week type show where we're introduced to a lot of characters slowly but surely, and then it's not until like I want to say maybe technically episode
we get
8 still had an
introduced to we
introduction.
we get introduced to this one chick,
Which one?
um, Allegra.
Allegra. Oh no, not her.
Allegra. And it's
She
it's
basically
funny because
created Venom.
it's funny because like when she's in this giant truck and like it's just
No,
barreling
no,
through
no.
town, it's just
He said
barreling down the street, and
they
then
said, "Oh, look, it's her
Leo,
monster truck."
and it's just funny because Leo's just hanging onto the side of the truck and gets a call from Zap, and he's just like, "Yep, still here, not dead yet." And
Yep.
and it's just funny because you see Allegra and she's just standing there, and she's standing right where Leo is. She's just standing there like totally unfazed, and then she grabs Leo, throws him into the truck, and then she's like, "Oh, you're the all-seeing eyes kid." And I was like, "All right, cool. So you know who I am." And then she's like, "So you got anyone personal in your life?" And I was like, "Oh, we're going here. We're doing this." And then she's like, "So is there anyone you're interested in?" And Leo's like, "No, not really." She's like, "You're making this boring." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to die."
But no, so like before she even got to that interrogation scene, she was talking about her love life and the one that she was going after, which is they call him Dog Hammer, but it's like
So
Brody and Hammer.
you got Hammer, you got Dog Hummer, and then you also got Deldro.
Yeah. But they
Deldro
just
is the blood,
yeah.
and Hummer is the actual dude.
No, 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 no. I was like, oh my god, it's Venom from the from the Spider-Man.
It's I find the way how they talked about how she talked about how she took Deldro, she took the blood out of Deldro and she took the blood out of Hummer, put Deldro's blood into Hummer and fused them together. And I was like, that's an interesting way to talk about it.
And then we see because it's so interesting when we were introduced to Deldro, not Deldro. What's the human's name? Is
Hummer,
Brody, right?
Hummer.
Oh, well, Hummer. When we Hammer, sorry. When we got introduced to Hammer, he was like inside an asylum, and I'm just like, homeboy's just in here, and he's just kind of like when Klaus and I want to say it was Klaus and Steven when they both came to pick him up. He was just so chill about everything. He was just all tied up and everything. He's like, "Oh hey guys, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, Allegra's on her way to come get you." And he's just like, "Allegra." He's like, "Yeah, the one that did this to you." And then when they were taking off the things, you see Deldro coming out about trying to attack Klaus, but
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "We will coagulate you." And Deldro, not Deldro, and we're just like, "Yeah, we don't want him to do that." And Deldro's like, "Wait, is that bad?" He's like, "Yeah, that's bad." And I'm like, "What is happening here?" What is going on? Because, like I said, Hammer's just so chill. But yeah, no, just Deldro. I mean, their whole dynamic is a little bit weird. We see a couple episodes of them together in season one. I don't know how they are in season two, but we'll get there eventually.
And then we get KK, and KK was interesting.
KK is interesting by the fact that she has the hots for Klaus, and the only reason why she likes him is because he's stronger than her. She's just like, I like men who are strong. And then I'm just kind of like, okay, Hisoka, calm down now.
But the fact that freaking KK also uses a rifle too.
Like that was her whole thing is that she just uses guns, and I'm just like, I like this one. She got the right idea, and I'm like,
I was like,
how did she
all
miss her
right, cool. I was like, cool. And then there's like one other person that I kind of liked, which was I like the techniques that they. Well, I don't like. It's not a person; it's the techniques. I like the techniques that they use. So like with Klaus using his blood veins technique, and when you have Zeb and his sword technique, or you have Zed, and they both come from the same master.
You said Zeb, you meant Zap. Got
Zap.
you.
Yeah, it's funny because in the dub they say Zap, but I hear it as Zeb, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's the Star Wars brain kicking in.
Jesus. But no, so yeah, Zap. But Zed is also able to use the same technique as Zap, but he can also use wind techniques as well.
Yeah, in
Which
which
okay, so let
that's
me. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say when I heard that there are different types of creatures when
mhm,
the Ultra World opened up and stuff like that, I was slightly confused because I thought maybe Zap was a vampire. Because
mhm.
one of the tags to this anime on my anime list is vampires, and
Yeah,
so
because
when I was
vampires do
told,
play a part.
yeah, they do play a part. I didn't know that they were the bad guys, but when I was told that Chain is a werewolf and stuff like that, then you see Klaus, who actually looks like a werewolf, but he's not, and I'm just kind
Hmm.
of like, okay. Then we see the mushroom guy and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, Zap doesn't have any external features and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, he's a vampire because he used blood techniques. Nope, he's just a human that can use blood techniques. I'm just like, okay. Then we get introduced to the vampires, which, by the way, some of the depictions of the vampires are actually pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Reason why I say that is because yes, a lot of them kind of just look like normal humans or whatever, to be expected. But when we go to the fight club, where Zach kind of tricks Klaus to come
Hmm.
to do fights for him and stuff like that, and when he beats up the main boss, and you see the little blood creature that's inside, we hear Leo said, "Hey Klaus, be careful. That's one of the 13 elders." And I'm like, "That's the vampire." I was like, "Oh god, that's the vampire." What? I was just
So,
kind of like,
yep.
"Okay, okay." And then we find out, Black is
Hmm.
one of the elders too, but it's not William. It's the being that that has resided inside of William. So I'm like,
It's blank.
okay, I'm starting to get it now. It's the King of Despair. I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
blank.
starting to get it now. It's not they're not physical manifestations. They're kind of like just the beings within. Makes sense now.
One
Got
thing
you.
that's interesting is when Leo meets technically it's when he meets Black for the first time on the subway. When you then I put this together and I was like, wait a minute, because when he goes to the hospital room and he sees White, and
I
I
think
saw it.
Zoom is saying you're
And
doing a good job, bud.
and when he goes to the hospital room to see White, and he goes, "Oh, I saw you before. You were on the subway." And when Black is like, when he's alone with White, he's like, "I didn't. That's weird. We didn't meet on the subway. I
He's
don't
like,
know what's." And
you
then
must have been mistaken by someone else.
when you start to put the pieces together, you're like, "Snap! Blank is taking over." And you're just like, he's taking over without you realizing it.
Like
And I
that's
was like, that's pretty interesting. I was like, that's pretty cool. I said, that's a split personality done right.
and that's it's scary because you would think it would be very obvious because we've seen moments before, well, not before that, but we see moments after that where we could tell whenever King of Despair, we'll just call him the King of Despair, whenever he takes over William, his eyes goes red. So we're like, okay, so we know visually whenever King
Well,
of Despair
because
is
his
taken
eyes go
over.
red, and then sometimes he'll slick back his hair.
But yeah, so we're just like, okay, cool. We have a visual representation of whenever he takes over. But then when we think back to that scene, and William says, "I don't remember meeting you," you're just kind of like, "Oh, snapperoni!
And
Oh
because the
no!"
one thing that cued me in, because I'm listening to how Will speaks, and how the King of Despair speaks. And I'm like, when when the King of Despair said, "Oh," when Leo said, "Oh, what happens with the other 5%?" and the King of Despair was like, "Oh, yeah, see, those people have powers, but
They can't be seen
they
by
can't be seen by the
humans.
human eye." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "Wait a minute." I said, "Will would never say something like that." And then I was like, King of Despair. King of Despair is just there.
But yeah,
And
like
I
when we
was
were
like,
first introduced, we have no idea. But then as it continues to go on and we get referenced back to that scene so many times, I'm just kind of like, oh snap Rhodey.
and the whole thing of them playing games with each other, or the King of Despair trying to bring about the second collapse. And he's like, okay, well, technically I didn't do it, but where's the fun in that? And he's like, when it comes to Leo, he's just like walks into the church. And he is like, "Oh, don't try to play like you're the victim here." He is like, "You know what you need to do." And he's talking to White, and he's like, "You know what you need to do." And she's like, "Hey, yo, Leo, I need your eyes." So at this point, I'm like, "Excuse me? You want my eyes? You can't have my eyes, but I mean, you're gonna have to do it something." And so it's
And
it's it's interesting
my thing is, he just allowed White to fit the glasses onto him. Like
because
what?
there's really nothing he can do. I mean, he's still an ordinary person. Like,
He could have swiped his hand or something and be like, "Nah, you ain't put them on me." But I'm just saying. Listen, I know I'm putting logic where logic doesn't need to be put, but just listen to me on this one. He could have easily been like, "Nope," but I know for plot reasons, he was just completely stunned and shocked by the fact that White was,
well, no, he
basically
couldn't, because
betraying him.
he couldn't have swatted White's hand because of the King of Despair. King of Despair had a hold on his soul.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
So
I forgot the
so
King of Despair
the
was there.
the King of Despair, he basically locked Leo down by holding, keeping his soul. And he was like,
He was using his psi powers. Yeah,
yeah, and he was like, all right, cool, take his eyes. And I was like, dang, that's kind of messed up. So
that is.
one interesting thing I know, I'm gonna jump back real quick. I want to talk about the chess game real quick that we witnessed.
You mean the freaking 7D chess that was going on?
That was an intense game of chess.
Here's the thing, right? Was what made that entire scene so much more funnier was the fact that when I was watching it, and when I was watching it with my friends,
Mhm.
one of them was just kind of like, is this just regular chess? He was trying to find so much logic into it because I had no idea why there was more boards popped up and then some of the boards were just spheres. I was just like, what the heck is happening right now?
No, it's just like, because with those players, we had Don. I didn't write out his whole name. I'm just calling him Don. Don, which was the
Mm,
main dude with all the brains. And then we had
yeah.
Klaus. And then we had Elchenko,
Mm.
the
Elchenko?
the Russian dude.
No, the Russian dude. I was like, his name wasn't Elchenko, but I think maybe
It
it was
was.
just
It
something like
was.
that.
It's Korsov Elchenko.
Okay, okay. Because I was just like, yeah, and then so you know how like the title cards pop in and stuff like that whenever they introduce a new character,
Hmm.
and it says like different things about them. So when it popped up to him, all you see is former Soviet Union. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, because I kind of realized that after he sat there, he said, "I want nuclear weapons." And I said, "Excuse me, no, no."
Sir, I'm just be like, hold on there, Sonny boy. We just met. You
And
can't
then
just
he
get
was like,
nuclear
he's like,
weapons.
he said, "I would like nuclear weapons." And I said, "Excuse me, no, no." Also, the two out back, the two out front, yeah, kill him. And I said, "Klaus,
He
you
said,
you want me?"
my
I was like, "You want me to kill Klaus and KK?" Nah.
my involvement can't be known here. And he says, but if you win this game, we can do it. Let's go for 9 hours. And when Klaus tried to give him some pointers, like, "Hey, don't try to checkmate him. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
work." And he's like, "So you're telling me not to win?" And he's like, "No, I'm telling you how to survive."
Right.
So
And
Homeboy was about to die.
I like how KK was like, "But Klaus, you walked out of there 4 times already." And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't walk out of there because I won. I walked out of there because I put him at a stalemate by the skin of my teeth." And I was like, "Oh,
I was like,
he's that good. He's that
"Homeboy
good."
is him. He is him."
And then I kept thinking back to when Klaus is playing the game on his computer, and I'm like, so is the guy he's playing against actually Don?
Maybe,
That's what I'm
possibly,
thinking. That it's probably him, just via computer screen.
via computer screen. But I mean, that entire episode was kind of interesting because you just see the depth of like what some people can do. Because when we get introduced to that guy, he basically has his own pocket dimension where he can control time. Because when it's Klaus, when the guy gets kicked out and he's about to get killed, Klaus says, "Wait, you said you were playing 2 games today, so how about I play you to make sure he doesn't die and for you to do what I would like for you to do." And he said, "All right, for you, 99 hours." And I'm just like, excuse me, let me do the math real quick on that one. Looks it up. It's like 4 days and some. And I'm just like, you're gonna play this chess game for 4 days straight in this pocket dimension, and the
Mm-hmm.
longer you play with him, the more starts weighing on your mind. And I'm just like, homeboy. And you can tell that it's doing a physical thing to him because guess what? Nose bleeding. Homeboy is dying right now.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what on God's green earth is happening in this game right now? I'm just
A
like,
lot is happening. The fact that Klaus's life is literally on the line, and when he came out, when Don came out, he said, "And now time to collect my payment," and went to take freaking Elchinko's life, and freaking Klaus was like, "Wait, let's do our game first before you take him." And I was like, all right, Klaus over here stalling, and I was just like, dang. And then when KK and Klaus are driving away, KK is like, "You better write down this information I'm about to give you. And if all of you don't do your job, I'm taking out each and every one of you." I was like, "Okay,
yep.
KK, okay."
And then, oh my God, just hearing when the Don was just kind of like, that man out there had the audacity to say that I needed to eliminate you two, and you're risking your life for him. And
Mm-hmm.
Klaus is always like, "This is the gentleman's way." And I'm like, Klaus, man, you're the real one, Klaus. I like you. Even though I can't even say your last name is Reinhurst. Never
Von
mind. Klaus von
Reinhentz.
Reinhens.
Yes.
Reinhens.
It's
Anyway.
Klaus von Reinhentz.
Well, on here it's spelled Reinherz. It's
VON.
Reinherz.
It's Reinhentz. It's REINHERTZ.
Where the heck do you see the T? On here it doesn't have no T.
Well,
Anyway.
too bad. It's Reinhentz. If you
It's
listen
kind of
to
like how
the
you said.
dub, if you listen to the dub long enough, you get a good hearing of it, and you hear him constantly go von Reinhentz, von Reinhentz. So yeah.
What? Sure.
Blood grade technique war 999.
At least it's a lot better than trying to say Nedge's name because, oh sweet God.
Nedge. Freaking Nedge's name is just long as mess. Also, I realized that Nedge's voice actor is also the same voice actor for Misaka from
Musica. Why does that sound familiar?
it's from Magical Index, certain Magical Index.
Oh, something that I haven't watched yet, which we
It's
will be
from
watching hopefully somewhat
uh
soon.
it's from the what Toma calls Zapper, or because we have her, and then we also have the Misaka clones where they go Misaka. So
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So I was like, all right, cool. I at least know who your other character is. All right, cool. So good on me. But other than that,
But let's get
the diner
so
that never ceases to be destroyed.
I feel bad for that diner, man. And you know what? I realize when it comes to this episode, we're a little bit, kind of back and forthy with how we're describing things, and that's because I mean, the story really doesn't like go
I
linear
like
until about
I
the last 3 episodes.
the one thing that I like is the fact that it pretty much wraps itself up the way how it started.
Well, you
Now,
say that.
so what do I mean by it wraps up the way it started? The way how it started was where Leo is talking via letter to Michaela, his sister. The way how it ends is basically him, because throughout the entirety of this of season one of BBB, you see, because Vivian tells Leo, you at least need to write your sister or send her a letter or a postcard or something. Your family is gonna worry no matter what.
Yeah. Now,
This
I
this
get that.
being this being the fact that this entire time throughout BBB, what do we see Leo doing?
We see him, well,
He's
every once in a
trying
while,
to
he's
write
trying
the
to write a
letter
letter.
to Michaela the
Yes.
entire time. He starts with Dear Michaela and then stops there because he doesn't know what to put. By the
And then
end
at the
of
end,
season one, he now knows what to put. So he writes out the that he even says it's a long one. So I hope you will bear with me.
yeah. And
So,
no, I get
and
it.
that's the one thing that I like is that it wraps up the same way how it started with recounting you. So basically, we're seeing the entire journey that Leo took being a part of Libra and everything else that Libra has to offer. But we're seeing it through not only through Libra, but through Leo, through Klaus, through almost everyone else's eyes. And then Leo's just recounting all the stories that they have told him to his sister,
Yeah.
and not only
Now,
via letter but also through the cassette tapes because she kind of lost her eyes. So
well, yes, I know. I get it. That's a really interesting way of how they were able to kind of like tell us the entire story. But I do have some complaints when it comes to this anime. Now, allow me to air out my frustration. One, things are a little bit convoluted. You have to kind of agree with me there.
in what way?
Where,
In what way? I'm gonna need you to explain this, not only for me but also for the viewers as well. Explain yourself. Explain this to the jury, ma'am.
so the way that the story is kind of presented is in a very convoluted way. Things are a little bit confusing, and I think it's meant to be confusing. Because let's think back to episode one, where it starts off with there is the opening of the letter, but then we see him chasing after Sonic, and you see things happening in the background where while he's chasing after the monkey, you see rockets being propelled towards a building
Yeah,
and
and
stuff like that.
he literally says, "I did not expect to be caught up in the middle of a bank heist." While he's chasing Sonic, the bank heist is going on in the background, which is why the
But
rockets fly past, hitting the building,
but
causing the
wait,
building to explode, causing
wait,
Leo to fall and hit the
Wesley.
ground, and it all comes together. It's all a snowball effect. It may
So
not be a
Wesley,
good snowball, but it's a snowball effect nonetheless. I'm sorry.
Wesley, wait, wait a second. Because let me continue on with what I'm getting at here. We see him, the episode opens up with him chasing after Sonic and all that stuff, if everything going on. Then he gets stopped by Zach. But then the episode kind of does a little bit of a rewind immediately after that, where it says several hours before, and he's in the diner talking to the woman, and we see his stuff, his
Vivian.
camera being stole by Sonic, and then we see him go through the same motions and everything, just through a different point of view, and I'm like, so wait. Because that's a weird way to kind of like do episode one, where I'm just kind of like, is this just going to be a replaying of events that has happened? And I'll admit it didn't do that for a lot of the anime, but then when we get to episode 10.5, where he's retelling everything that's happened up until that point via a radio thing, I'm just kind of like, this is a callback to episode one, where basically we re-see everything that has happened up until the certain point. And I'm just kind of like, it's a weird episode that you feel like you need to do because, Wesley, let's be honest, 95% of episode 10.5 is literally not even new animation. It's just showing the animation that's been done for the past 10 episodes that we
So
have
so
just
so
sat
so
down and seen.
are you trying to tell me that you disliked 10.5?
10.5 for
I need
someone
a
who's.
I need a yes or a no, buddy. I need a yes or a no.
Give me a second. I like the way that it was done, but I feel
Hmm.
like it was also unnecessary. We don't need a recap.
Got it. All right. You know, to each is their own. Some people might like 10.5, some people might not. You know, we're not going to sit here and go into a whole hour-long debate about it. Let's just chalk it up to each is their own. I liked it, you
Yeah,
didn't. All right.
to each is their own, and you enjoyed it, and like I said, I find it very interesting as a way to tell a story. Is just, if I was to have been watching this, if I was one of the people that was watching this week by week, and
Yes.
I'm
Hi.
excited
I
and
was a
waited,
person who watched this week to week.
and I was waiting with bated breath after finishing episode 10 and being like, oh boy, next week episode is going to be a freaking banger. I can't wait to see what happens. And then I see that, oh, I'd be upset. I'd be really upset by like, it's a
Okay,
recap episode.
you now, you in present day would be upset, but because let me tell you from how I watched it within the last couple of minutes we have. So when I watched this back in 2015, right? So when I watched this and we got to
Mm-hmm.
10.5, I we watched episode 10. We were at the church, you know, and everything. I was like, all right, pretty cool. Hit 10.5, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Being retold everything from a different point of view. And then I get where you're coming from. Like, because at first I was like, I don't think this is necessary. But then the more you harp on it, the more you look back on it, you're like, maybe it was kind of necessary. Because the more anime you look at, the more you know, it changes your mind kind of thing. Because right after this, I watched Durara. So I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe they tried to do a Durara kind of thing. So I don't know. But yeah, I was just like, it was pretty interesting. Like, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. The fact of it's not necessary, which, yeah, it may not be necessary, but it's here nonetheless. We can't sit there and go back in time and be like, hey, yo, animation studio, you can't be doing that. You shouldn't be. Don't put 10.5 in there. No. You need to stick with with what you're doing. Nah, we can't do that. So, you know, just they did what
I
they
mean,
needed to do. So
like I said, I mean, it's there, it's interesting. I just think it's not kind of necessary. But, you know, to each their own. You enjoyed it. I'd enjoyed it retrospectively, just at the moment of time. Not necessary. Skip it. Go on to episode 11.
mhm.
But we are coming up towards the end of the episode. We only have like a few minutes left, so let's end it off on a positivity. And what I mean by that is, who was your favorite character, Wes?
Hmm. I do like Leo, but I also like the fact I also kind of I don't know. I don't know. I like Leo, but I like White as well. And I kind of liked all of them. I kind of like Libra as a whole.
Libra as a whole, yeah, I can kind of feel that. I have to say, um, comedy wise, I freaking love Lucky Abrams because Homeboy's just so overpowered. He's just like, he's the luckiest man alive. How is he lucky? By taking away everyone else's luck. Homeboy, stay away from me. I don't need you anywhere near me. But if it comes to it and I have to be around him, I need to be as close to him as possible if I want to up my chances of survival. So I
Well,
mean, that's who I like.
I mean, yeah, not gonna lie. Because I liked how they make reference to Klaus toward the end, and they're like, you know, you know, you have someone who's going to become you, which is basically they're hinting at Leo is going to become the next Klaus.
Possibly.
Yeah. But other than that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you share it with your friends. And let us know, have you seen Blood Blockade Battlefront? What did you think of it? Let us know in the comment section down below, and we will see you there.
Alrighty. And we hope you guys all enjoyed your visit to
The Underground
the
Geek Shack.
Underground Geek Shack. See you
See you
guys.
guys.